All right, let's dive into something truly incredible today, the untold story of Honda's creation. You might think you know Honda, the car company, the motorcycle giant, the brand behind your lawnmower, or that sleek Civic parked in your driveway. But trust me, the real story is wilder, weirder, and way more fascinating than you'd ever expect. This isn't just about engines and assembly lines. It's a tale that weaves through history, science, human psychology, technology, and even a little bit of nature and space. I'm going to take you on a ride that'll keep you hooked from start to finish, uncovering mind-blowing facts and hidden layers about how a poor kid from a tiny Japanese village built one of the world's most iconic companies. Ready? Let's hit the gas. Picture this, it's the early 1900s in a rural speck of Japan called Tenri, tucked away in Shizuoka Prefecture. A boy named Soichiro Honda is born in 1906 to a blacksmith father and a weaver mother. Life's tough. Think dirt floors, no electricity, and a family scraping by. But Soichiro? He's different. He's obsessed with machines. Legend has it, as a kid, he chases after a Ford Model T rumbling through his village, gets a whiff of the oil dripping from its exhaust, and is hooked. That smell, that gritty, metallic scent, lights a fire in him. It's not just a random childhood memory. It's the spark that'll one day ignite Honda as we know it. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's rewind and unpack how this scrappy dreamer turned chaos into creation. Fast forward to Soichiro's teens. He's 15 and he ditches school, not because he's lazy, but because he's restless. He heads to Tokyo, lands a gig as an apprentice in a garage, and dives headfirst into the world of mechanics. This isn't some glamorous job, it's greasy, back-breaking work. But for Soichiro, it's paradise. He's tinkering with engines, soaking up every detail, and dreaming big. By his early 20s, he's back in his hometown running his own repair shop. Here's where things get wild. He's not just fixing bikes, he's racing them. He builds his own race cars, pushes them to the limit, and even crashes one so hard he nearly dies. This guy's got grit, but he's also reckless. He spends his 20s chasing speed, burning through cash, and living on the edge. It's chaotic, thrilling, and a total mess. Then comes the 1920s crash. Not the stock market, but Japan's economy. Soichiro's shop tanks. He's broke, out of luck, and at a crossroads. Most people would call it quits, but not him. He pivots, starts a company making piston rings, those little metal loops that keep engines humming. It's called Tokai Seiki, and it's his first real stab at manufacturing. Here's a mind-blowing fact. He's got no formal engineering degree, no fancy education, just raw talent and a knack for figuring things out. He teaches himself metallurgy, studies late into the night, and by 1938 he's supplying piston rings to Toyota. That's right, Toyota the giant is buying from this self-taught upstart. But success? It's fleeting. World War II hits and Japan's a war machine. Soichiro's factory churns out parts for the military, but then disaster strikes. Literally. In 1944, American B-29 bombers flatten his plant. He rebuilds, only for an earthquake to level it again in 1945. Picture this. His life's work is rubble, Japan's in ruins after surrendering, and Soichiro's unemployed. Most would despair, but he does something insane. He sells what's left of Tokai Seiki to Toyota for a chunk of cash, buys a huge vat of alcohol, and spends a year partying. Yep, you heard that right. He throws wild, Seik-fueled bashes with his buddies, blowing off steam while the world around him crumbles. It's a psychological reset, a middle finger to failure, and, believe it or not, a turning point. So it's 1946, and Japan's a post-war wasteland. People are starving, cities are bombed out, and transportation's a nightmare. Soichiro's hungover but restless. He looks at his bicycle, then at a pile of surplus radio generator motors from the war. Tiny two-stroke engines the military doesn't need anymore. Inspiration hits like a lightning bolt. He bolts one of those motors onto his bike, fires it up, and suddenly he's zipping around town. It's clunky, it's loud, it stinks of fuel, but it works. Neighbors see it, beg him to make more, and just like that, he's back in business. This is the birth of Honda. Not with a grand plan, but with a hacked-together bike in a shed. Mind-blowing, right? From party animal to pioneer in months. Let's zoom in on that first creation because it's a tech marvel in disguise. Those generator motors, they're about 50 cubic centimeters, barely bigger than a soda can. Soichiro tweaks them, mounts them on a bicycle frame, and adds a fuel tank made from a hot water bottle. It's crude, but it's genius. He calls it the Type A, and by 1947 he's selling them under the Honda Technical Research Institute. Here's a little-known fact. He hand-writes letters, 18,000 of them, to bike shops across Japan pitching his invention. No marketing team, no budget, just a guy with a pen and a dream. Shops bite, orders flood in, and soon he's got a real company, Honda Motor Co. Ltd., founded in 1948. Now, let's talk history, because this isn't just Soichiro's story, it's Japan's. Post-war Japan is desperate for cheap mobility, cars are a luxury, most folks can't even afford food. Soichiro sees the gap and fills it with the Type D in 1949. Nicknamed the Dream, it's his first fully designed motorcycle, not just a modded bike. It's got a pressed steel frame, a two-stroke engine, and a vibe that screams freedom. People love it. By 1952, Honda's pumping out the Cub F, a clip-on engine that turns any bicycle into a motorbike. It's a game changer, affordable, practical, and a symbol of Japan clawing its way back. Here's the kicker: by 1959, Honda's the world's biggest motorcycle maker. From rubble to global domination in a decade. Unreal. But Soichiro's not done. He's got cars in his sights, and this is where science and psychology collide. In 1963, he unveils the S500, a zippy little sports car. It's lightweight, nimble, and powered by a four-cylinder engine with tech borrowed from his racing days. Think double overhead camshafts, a rarity back then. Why cars? Because Soichiro's obsessed with pushing boundaries. Psychologically, he's wired differently. He thrives on risk, hates stagnation, and sees failure as fuel. Studies on innovators like him show this trait, a mix of stubbornness and curiosity that turns setbacks into stepping stones. The S500 isn't a blockbuster, but it's a statement. Honda's here to play. Let's pivot to nature, because even that shapes Honda's story. Japan's a land of earthquakes, over 1,000 a year thanks to its spot on the Pacific Ring of Fire. Soichiro's factories face this reality constantly. After that 1945 quake, he designs plants with flexibility in mind. Steel frames that sway, not snap. It's a lesson from nature: adapt or collapse. Fast forward to the 1980s, and Honda's using seismic tech to test cars, simulating quakes to ensure durability. They even pioneer aluminum engine blocks, lighter, tougher, and inspired by how bones balance strength and weight in the natural world. It's biomimicry before the term gets trendy. Speaking of tech, let's hit the 1970s, when Honda rewrites the rule book. The Civic debuts in 1972, a compact, fuel-sipping car perfect for the oil crisis. Then, in 1975, they dropped the CVCC engine, compound vortex-controlled combustion. It's a mouthful. But here's the deal. It burns fuel so cleanly, it meets America's tough new emission laws without a catalytic converter. Mind-blowing fact. The US EPA calls it the cleanest internal combustion engine ever tested at the time. Detroit's scrambling, but Honda, a motorcycle company, beats them at their own game. It's tech born from necessity, ingenuity, and a dash of rebellion. Now let's blast into space. Sort of. Honda's not launching rockets, but their engineering touches the cosmos. In the 1990s, they develop Asimo, a humanoid robot that walks, climbs stairs, and wows the world. It's not just a gimmick. Asimo's tech comes from Honda's car research, like balance systems and sensors. Here's the wild part. In 2010, they unveil a brain-Mishi interface for Asimo. You wear a helmet, think about moving your hand, and the robot mimics you. It's straight out of sci-fi, using EEG and infrared sensors to read brainwaves. Why? Soichiro's vision was always bigger than cars. He wanted to solve human problems, from mobility to Mars. Back on Earth, psychology drives Honda's next leap. The 1980s bring Akira, Japan's first luxury car brand. Soichiro's retired by now. He steps down in 1973, but his spirit lingers. Akira's born from a hunch. Americans want Japanese reliability with a premium twist. The Legend, launched in 1986, nails it. Sleek, quiet, and packed with tech like anti-lock brakes. It's a hit, outselling European rivals. Psychologically, it taps into trust. Honda's rep for quality lets them gamble on luxury. A 2015 study on brand loyalty shows Honda owners stick around longer than most, a legacy of Soichiro's focus on people over profit. Let's talk nature again, because Honda's green streak is wild. In 1998, they roll out the Civic GX, a natural gas car so clean the EPA dubs it the greenest combustion engine ever. Then, in 1999, the Insight hits a hybrid beating Toyota's Prius to a... It's got an aerodynamic teardrop shape inspired by birds slicing through air and a gas-electric combo hitting 70 miles per gallon. Fast forward to 2008 and the FCX Clarity arrives, a hydrogen fuel cell car emitting only water. Honda's not just building vehicles, they're rethinking how we coexist with the planet. Who saw that coming from a guy who started with a bicycle? History swings back in the 2000s. Honda's now a titan, over 400 million motorcycles sold by 2019, plus cars everywhere. But they don't rest. The Honda Jet takes flight in 2015, a sleek private plane with engines mounted over the wings, cutting drag like a falcon diving for prey. It's the fastest in its class, born from decades of tinkering with aerodynamics. Little-known fact, Soichiro sketched plane ideas in the 1930s, dreaming of flight before he mastered wheels. It's a full-circle moment tying his restless mind to the skies. Let's get psychological one last time. Soichiro dies in 1991 at 84, but his mindset, call it the power of dreams, lives on. He once said, "The value of life is how many times your soul's been stirred." For him, it was constant. Every crash, every rebuild, every crazy idea. A 2020 study on resilience finds traits he embodied: adaptability, optimism, and a refusal to bow to failure. Honda's culture reflects this. Engineers are encouraged to experiment, fail, and try again. It's why they've jumped from bikes to robots to jets while others stagnate. So what's the untold story of Honda's creation? It's not just a company. It's a saga of a man who turned chaos into momentum, who saw possibility in ruins, and who blended science, tech, and human spirit into something unstoppable. From a kid chasing a Model T to a legacy orbiting Earth, Soichiro Honda didn't just build machines, he built a mindset. What do you think? Could you dream that big? Let me know, because this story's got me fired up. Thanks for riding along. Until next time, keep chasing your own spark.